Yeah, 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 Erk up. Ayy, 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 ayy. Look.
Well, Dawn, just within the last hour or so, Philadelphia police did identify the 14-year-old teen that turned himself in here yesterday. He's being charged as an adult with third-degree murder and conspiracy. We're told his 10-year-old brother was released and was not charged. And new tonight sources also tell me they identified a female suspect. She is seen on video beating the suspect with a cone at least twice. Philadelphia police say 14-year-old Richard Jones is being charged as an adult with third-degree murder and conspiracy in the deadly attack on a 73-year-old in North Philadelphia. Jones and his 10-year-old brother turned themselves in with an attorney Monday. The district attorney's office says the 10-year-old was released and has not been charged. Sources say he is the one that first strikes 73-year-old James Lambert Jr. with the traffic cone back on June 24th around 2:30 a.m. on Cecil B. Moore Avenue. Sources say they identified one of the female suspects as well. They say she is seen on camera striking Lambert a second time, a third time, and possibly a fourth time off camera. Lambert died at the hospital the next day. His devastated niece told Fox 29 he went by Simi, and the holidays will not be the same without him.
He's walked that path for 60, 70 years of his life, and for his life to be snuffed out like that is just unbelievable. And where were the parents?
Now, I did reach out to the attorney of the 14-year-old, but I am still waiting to hear back. Police say they are still looking for others in that video seen on camera, and they're asking anybody with information to come forward. Jason?
All right, Kelly Rule, thank you very much.
Shit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole time up until they showed the mugshot, man, I just kept saying, please don't be black.
I guess we'll jump right into it. So the topic of the day, we talking about violence amongst the when it comes to the youth in inner cities and just anywhere in general. I'm saying, so something like when I first saw that story, I didn't want to believe it until I actually seen the clip on Instagram. So when y'all saw this, what did y'all feel?
I mean, it's just, I think part of it is just like when you see it, it just stacks up on everything we've already been seeing for, the last, I'll say 5 years. And it's just kind of one of those things where, people say we're becoming desensitized because it's every week, every month now that we see something almost at this level. So it's kind of one of those things where sometimes I have to like really make myself like feel, because I'm like just so used to it. It's so easy to say it's just another whatever happening, but this one was definitely especially worse.
Yeah, I had like kind of like the same feeling, like, like at the same time it's unfortunate, but it's the same thing that we've been seeing, all throughout the years, and it's really not a surprise, but at the same time, it's somebody lost their life, senselessly. It's crazy, like that's supposed to be the elder that we protect in the community, and and the kids need protection too. But it's just a clear indication of just the parenting going wrong, and nobody's watching these kids, and nobody even caring about what's going on in these communities.
Like you said, like it's something that we've been seeing like forever, especially like if we grew up in Philly and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, I feel like it's gotten worse because like the crimes that be happening are getting younger and younger and younger. You know what I'm saying? At least like when we was like growing up and stuff like that, it was crimes obviously, but it was like a lot of crimes that we seen like in our neighborhoods. It was like dudes like in their 20s and up, but now it's just like it's kids that's not even reaching like high school yet. They committing crimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you said, where these parents have to really raise these kids and stuff like that. It's like, why are these kids out at that time of night anyway, on guidance, unsupervised? So it's
facts. Like and me and you, Steph, like we come kind of from the same area. You from uptown, like we was coming up. Like you said, there was more like we're just talking about like violence and gunplay and stuff like that. That was like more like the older guys. Like we was like young kids, like, high school, we were in middle school, the most we did was probably fight people, probably, like got into like a free fall or a brawl or something like that at school, you know, but now, you know, these kids are getting a little more serious with it. And that's what's making it more alarming because, you know, they don't really have a sense of the consequences that comes with what they're doing. You know, they just thinking that they're young and that they're doing whatever, you know, and it's crazy, you know, like nobody's really teaching them like what's really like going on out here, you know, for them to even think about the actions that they're committing out here, you know.
Facts.
I think a big problem too with it is like you said, like, you know, when we were that age, we saw it, but like we weren't like our age group wasn't involved with it. But I think a big part of that is like because when we were that age, you know, we saw them, but then when we went home and like that was it. But nowadays, like, is if you're old enough to have social media, you're old enough to be influenced by those people because if they see you and they know of you, you know what I'm saying? All they gotta do is look up your name on Facebook and then, you know, so there's just so much more access to the kids by people of that age. And, you know, like they get them involved because they don't want to get themselves in trouble. So it's easier to manipulate somebody younger into doing stuff for you. And so I think that's a big part of it.
Facts. I was thinking about this too for the last like week and stuff. Like shit like that is sad, like because that's probably somebody's grandpa or somebody's uncle that just got died over some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? But like obviously I don't like seeing like people that look like us get locked up and stuff. But like something like that just can't be a slap on the wrist. But my question for y'all is like what should be like the consequence that that happened to those kids? It's like that ain't something that you can just let off the hook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I do believe in, you know, that the things that you do, you know, whatever you do, whatever you put out there is what you're gonna get back, you know. So I'm a firm believer in that. So, you know, whatever the punishment is, you know, I know they're young kids and stuff like that, but I don't believe like in a harsh punishment, but like something that like, you know, would teach them, you know, okay, like y'all need to not, you know, do this again. Like I do believe they need a second chance at life. You know, I don't want to see their lives get thrown away. They're so young. You know, I don't think that they even made it to high school yet. You know, man, at that age, you you don't even know the things that you haven't experienced yet. You know, so
Yeah.
I do. You know, even though it's unfortunate that you know elder he's not here. You know, he doesn't have more life to live. But you know, I just think that if the punishment is going to be what it is, it should also come with some type of rehabilitation or like real sincere help, you know, so they can, you know, be better, you know, going forward in life, you know.
That's true. What about you, Don?
Yeah, I mean, that's what like kind of he said that's one of those tough things. It's like, you know, if you whatever you say is like what kind of price are you putting on life? And that's tough because you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you're that person's daughter, granddaughter, or whatnot, you know, it's eye for an eye for you because I mean that's just what it is. But I think that's the main thing is rehabilitation. But I just can't even imagine like, I mean, to like so carelessly take a life at that age, like it wasn't even like there was a screaming fight, like match, like there was friction or like an argument going on. They just straight beat an old man to death on the side of the road. And like there's just something about that I don't know. I don't know if you can heal that.
I don't know. I like what you said too. Apart what you said talking about put a price on life because it got me thinking too about certain things. Like when I was growing up, I'm not gonna say I grew up in a religious home, but like I had a grandmother that was Baptist. You know what I'm saying? And like so,
Mhm.
most of my family is Christian. I have a few cousins that are Muslim and stuff as well. So it's like we always have some kind of like spirituality or religion in the household and stuff like that. So it's like I'm not saying people need it, but like a part of it is like having some kind of spirituality or religion in the household can play effect on like having a moral compass or like teaching you from right and wrong or like knowing having some kind of empathy or sympathy for other people. You know what I'm saying? You know, we all heard the thing when it comes to religion, do to others as you wish they do unto you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I feel like a lot of these kids is or like people in general, like in the inner city, they are missing that. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, you saw the video. It's like they just beat them as if it was a game. There was no argument. It was nothing. That old head didn't do nothing to them. It was just like we just gonna do it because we bored. It's like
Mhm.
they had that mindset. So my question for y'all is: do you think it should be more like spirituality or religion in the household, or do you think it even matters?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that matters because, I mean, you don't need religion or spirituality to, be a moral and decent, upstanding person in society. I mean, it does help, and I grew up religious as well. My mother was Christian, and of course, and my father, he's a Muslim. So I had like different religions, and different moral compasses growing up, and it taught me definitely right from wrong. But I think it was more so because I'm not religious as right now, so I think it was more so of like, just my parents being involved in my life to tell me these things, because you're not gonna go to church unless your mother tell you to go, So I think it's really about just like the parents being involved and, teaching children like, basic principles and morals of life,
Yeah.
I mean, if that has to, be religion or any type of spiritual system for, one family, then so be it. But I don't think every family needs that. I just think they really need, parents being involved in like the upbringing and rearing of their children, because I saw one clip on Instagram. It was another clip on another Instagram page, and the girl, the little 14-year-old girl, her mother actually, spoke to the news media, and she act like that little girl did nothing wrong, She acted like, I know nothing happened. Like, she's not she's not a bad kid, and I'm not a bad mother, and all this. And I'm just like, but what about, the man that just died? Like, so I don't even think, I don't know her or her situation, but I don't know if it's like, she has something going on in her life, or she's, addicted to drugs, or it could be anything that that the mother was going through that, but you can clearly see that she's not really even involved in like her child's day-to-day life, like
Right.
not even like, knowing where she's at, to her be out there late at night, being on with other kids, being on an older man like that, she doesn't even know what's going on in her life like that.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be like more like parental involvement, like just, like know, where your kids are at and what they're doing, and, tell them right from wrong.
Thanks. What about you, Don?
Yeah, I agree. I think so, like especially like you said, like a moral compass, like code, like you get that from your parents, and I feel like religion's just the vehicle. Like, so it could be, some parents do heavy in sports, and
Yeah.
like, and then that's their way of kind of passing that message, or they, it might be something else or whatever, but it's just the vehicle that you give it. And some kids don't have any of that, so they don't have religion, sports, whatever, and they're just at home. And then something I just kind of thought of too is like, I think at that age, you don't really understand, like, they see on TikTok people doing like the knockout challenge where you just like hit some random person who's not looking and try to knock them out and stuff like that. And people really do that. And, sometimes it might be staged or whatever. And so it might not even seem real, but kids take that so literally. And they don't realize that, like, you could punch somebody one time as a joke, but if they trip, fall, and hit the back of their head, they're dead. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have that future thought. I mean, even things that we could have done back in the day where we messed around and somebody literally could have died, but we just never thought about it and it didn't happen. And kids just see such wild stuff on the internet now that, I mean, it just kind of sets them up to fail, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I was thinking about what B said too about like when the mom went on the news media and was saying, trying to defend like my daughter's not a bad kid, like I'm a good mother and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, but what happened with the 70-year-old man? And it just got me thinking too, like obviously we see so many things that happen like in the media when we talk about police brutality and stuff like that, and like, oh yeah, the system is fucked up and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Which is true. Systematic racism is real and shit like that. But as far as like taking some level of accountability and fixing our own communities and stuff like that, like starting in the home, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that a lot of our problems start from the home. You get what I'm saying? And it's like situations like this, like where was the mom? If you're a good mom, where were you? Why weren't you checking on your
But I
daughter?
think that to play like devil's advocate on that note is that with where like just the economy is right now, I mean, a lot of parents got to work night shift because the night shift makes that little bit extra money. A lot of I mean, you don't see like one parent working households really anymore. Like both parents are working, and it's not like they can just not do that. Daycare costs however much money, daycare costs like over $20,000 a year when it's like all said and done. Like people just don't have the money, and it's like what people say, okay, well then don't have kids, but obviously we know that's not realistic. So I feel for them in the sense that like you really can't, like you can't raise a kid off one job, and if you got to work 60 hours a week to be able to pay for diapers, everything, that a kid needs, then that's tough.
Yeah, that's true too. But like for me, what I was like trying to get at is like as far as like accountability, as far as like obviously like I don't think anybody tells their kids to be like, yeah, go out there and like rob that person, go out there and beat that person senselessly. I'm not saying like they're telling them that, but it's some kind of level of accountability. Be like, maybe I need to teach my kids like some kind of principles and have established some kind of like discipline in them. Like me, like I would say like I grew up like in a strict household and stuff like that to a certain extent. And I was like, man, I can't, like, it was times where I couldn't go up the street or go around the corner to my friend's house without letting my mom or my dad know, or something like, yo, let me know where you at. Like it's past 8 o'clock or something like that. Or if like the street lights came on, they'd be like, yo, I want you on this block. I don't want you going to another block. When some street lights come on, stuff like that. I'm like, yo, you drawn, stuff like that. Man, oh my God, like why he so serious? But like after like as I got older and when I started doing like certain jobs with kids and stuff, like I see how like why my parents were like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if they weren't, they like you just open the door for the kids to feel like they can do anything they want. And a lot of these kids already think that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kids just have so many more options to get in trouble these days. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you got an iPhone, you could order a Uber, a Lyft, whatever. If you take your parents' phone, you could order whatever. Like, everything is just so accessible. So it's like, high school kids nowadays, they get Airbnbs. Like, you know what I mean? That's crazy to me. Like, and it's just like, so as a parent, it's like, how do you, you know what I mean? Aside from like being over strict, which could have the counter effect, it's like, how do you parent that?
Yeah, that's true. I think back at a situation, I don't know if it was like last year or maybe a couple months ago, there was a shooting that happened at Airbnb.
Yeah.
Philly, and they were like kids. They were like 14, 15, 16 years old. Like, it's I'm like, yo, how are they at this Airbnb?
I swear, you just have somebody's older sibling, get the place, and then they all give them their allowance money. Like,
crazy.
I feel like it's like Dom said, it's like opening so many doors. It's like it's so easy for kids to get in trouble nowadays and stuff. And it's like it's even worse now because it's like a sad part about it is a lot of the parents are not in the household because they're either busy working or they're not even mature enough to be in the household themselves. Because it's be parents out there in the club and something like that, and they be like, "Hey, I don't want you leaving this house. I want you to stay there and watch your siblings." And these kids ain't gonna listen. They gonna be right on that block as soon as mom turn off that block. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like shit like that. So it's just like, and I got so my next question is too, because like I've seen so many examples of like kids arguing back and forth with older people and stuff. I've seen rumbles with like dudes that be like 17 rumbling like a dude that's like 45, 50. So my question is like, where did the level of respect like leave when it comes to the youth? You know what I'm saying? Where did the level of respect go for the elderly?
I think it goes to what Don was talking about earlier, how basically, you got so much access to get in trouble now. Like these kids getting Airbnbs, they doing grown adult stuff. Like I remember I was down Cecil B. Moore one night, like maybe like a couple weeks ago, and like these kids, they had to been like no older than 17. They pulling up in cars, like they got like all their friends with them and all that. You know what I mean? They got like all this clothes, like designer clothes and all that. They got the shoes on. They looking like they doing something. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know like what exactly they're doing, but like they doing what they grown people do. Like the stuff that they get into, and like it's so much access to the world now because of like everything that's happened throughout like the last couple of years with the pandemic and COVID-19 and everything like that. Now like it's just so accessible to get to things and to have things and stuff like that. And they figured it out. These kids, they're kind of smart too with technology, so they know how to do stuff. So
And that's what people was talking about, like how so many more kids go missing nowadays. It's like, well, yeah, because they can hop on Facebook, whatever, message somebody from like people like high schoolers nowadays, they know everybody at every high school within like a 25-mile radius. You know what I mean? Just by social media alone. So like it's so much like when we were like, I'd be like, yo, I'm running away. But like I know as soon as I get to the end of the street, like where am I going? Like I don't got a car, no bus ticket, nothing.
Yeah,
Like but
yeah,
kids nowadays, man, it's like you 16-year-old could be in the next day over in 2 hours.
yeah, right. Yeah, these kids, man, nowadays, man, like I give it to them on that, man. They just need to chill. They need somebody older to be like, yo, listen, y'all gotta like, calm down a little bit, man. Y'all don't gotta do everything. I remember when the pandemic was going on, man. I was paying attention to a lot of stuff was going on, man. These kids, they was doing all them PPP loans and
Oh yeah, they scamming.
those were kids, man. It wasn't just adults, man. Those were kids doing that,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was just they had a lot of stuff going on, man. That's how, and then that goes to like what has been going on too with the gun violence and stuff like that. Like a lot of kids got access to guns now. You could order a gun online. Like you can get what they call the ghost guns now, right? You can order like a kit that you can like put together that's 80% built. Like these kids really be doing stuff like that, like they really like know like how to do that stuff, and they get the money or whatever they get it from, and they do what
Yeah,
they do.
man, they be on the dark web, they do all that.
Yeah,
Real shit.
yeah,
And I'll be thinking, well, I think B said that shit too about like needs like these old heads to like really like try to check them or talk to them. But it's like it's plenty of old heads that do try to do that shit, but they don't want to listen because like what they say, like a lot of these kids now they think they fucking grown and stuff like that because they got the wheels like, oh, I got my own money in now, so nobody can tell me nothing. I'm driving I'm staying out past 3, nobody can tell me nothing and shit like that. So like when an old head that's like what 40 45 it'd be like, yo, you need to chill, something like that, he look at him like they on the same level. Like you be 17, you look at a 45-year-old boy like nobody talking to you, Terrence. Ain't no Mr. Johnson, like, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no level of respect. It's just like, Terrence, don't talk to me, dog. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of them, it just gotten more hard-headed. And I'm not saying I wasn't a hard-headed young boy as myself, but it's like it was still that level of like, at least I had a respect to be like, yo, Mr. Johnson, something like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and actually, you know what this reminded me of? I was actually, and I might get hate for this, but I was glad to see Thug get arrested, Young Thug and all them,
Oh, with the gun and shit? Oh, okay. Explain.
because I was like, this finally shows that like there's no winning in that lifestyle. Like, even if you're Young Thug, you know what I'm saying, platinum rapper, no, like you're going to jail for that. Like, and it's heroin they're talking about, like, which kills however many Americans a year. Like, and so I hate when I see people like making excuses for him and whatnot. But like, I was like glad for that because I think that shows kids like it's not like there's no glory at the end of that life.
but you know what it could also do though? It could also be an effect to where that him going to jail for it or him, like whatever consequence or whatever result that comes from that, that's going to get glorified too, unfortunately, because it is hip hop.
That's
like
fair point too.
especially if you like a situation where he doesn't cooperate or he doesn't snitch or something like that. Oh, he's a real one. He's a this, that, and the third. He's a, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I do feel like, that too.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I would hope that it would be what you just said, that it would like show them that, oh, okay, yeah, like this is not the way to go. But unfortunately, like, I know how they, I'm not saying I know how they think, but like I kind of like can gauge like how they are. Like, they probably that it's like
you definitely right about that.
Yeah.
The sad part about it is too is like, well, in this generation now, because it's like, okay, if a young thug are gonna go to jail for doing that shit, yeah. But it's for probably like 20 or 30 other dudes that do that shit in rap now anyway. So it's like I feel like the kids ain't really gonna learn their lesson like we think they're going to.
But that's the thing. How many of them are actually, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that like you can tell actually are the ones that get like Casanova, like, you know what I mean? Like them dudes are getting arrested, you know what I'm saying? But it's the ones that like, just post the pictures on Instagram or whatnot because like they're gonna be at the studio. Of course, there's gonna be a plug, whatever, you take pictures, whatever, and like they just create, but like half them guys are freaking private school kids.
That's a fact, man. That should be okay. You know what I mean?
Right, like
it's music, man. It's entertainment. You know, like those guys you talk about. You know, Casanova. You know, anybody with Young Thug, ARAB, and all that. Like, like they, I don't know what possessed them to be a street guy and a rapper at the same time. Like a rap, like being a rapper is actually a legal job. Like, it's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, or like rappers that get caught with a gun, bro. But like, you have all the money in the world and all the time to go down, get your gun registered, get a legal gun, like, and then you're cool. Then you're cool.
Yeah, or higher security or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, even if you just want to have a gun on you, like, that's fine. That's legal, bro. Go do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, niggas be like risking all the millions of dollars just to try to prove an image, trying to look like you tough. But it's like, dog, why would you risk all those millions of dollars just for some shit you could have been doing? You was broke. That's the thing I don't get about it. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing is, like, you get caught up in, like, it feels like a game, like, you know what I mean? Like you're living a character apart because it's not really you. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's exciting and it's like, but nobody, when you're at the casino and you're winning, you don't stop most people don't stop when they make the most amount of money. They wait until they lose and end up leaving with less than they came with.
Right.
It's just the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I got a question for y'all. So like the whole thing with the old man and the 14-year-old kids and stuff like that. Say you was on the jury or you was a judge and stuff like that. How would y'all handle that, John? Because I'm still like conflicted. Like, what can you really do to those kids? It's like you don't want to like punish them because they still kids at the end of the day. But it's like something like that can't go unscused. Otherwise, it's just gonna open more doors for kids that think they can get away with shit like that. So what would y'all do?
I'm throwing the book. I'm gonna be real. I'm throwing the book. I mean, it's one of those things, like, just watching that video, like, you can just see the, like, complete, like, lack of, like I said, it wasn't a fight. Like, he wasn't in a heat of a moment, like, fight or flight, like, take out this guy that's coming at me, regardless of how much older they are. You know what I mean? It was like, like, ran up on him, hit him with a cone, and they're like, just the mockery of, like, another life. Like, I'm throwing the book.
You honest? What about you?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I can't like just like let them skate on that. I can't just. That's that's a loss of life. It's not like, oh, he got a couple scars, a couple bruises, or like no, he's never coming back. That's somebody's loved one. So I would definitely if I was on the jury, I would decide based on. It's really, it's not no feeling towards it, man. It's just being impartial, just like decided on the facts of what's going on. That's, and I feel like with that, like it's just like with law and just the legal world, like in general, right? Like our community has to really get more in depth and a little more educated on it because we really like not doing like things like jury duty and stuff like that. Like most Black people, we don't even try to even do that. And not knowing that that's really like, and then we complain about, oh yeah, we don't get tried by a jury of our real peers in our community. We get tried by white people. We get tried by this other people. But it's like we don't even do jury duty. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not really like I don't really like would put like emotions on it and if I was in the jury. Just being impartial about it. But I can't like really feel like too bad, making that decision, because at the end of the day, it's just about like, upholding like the law and not just like we gotta have like rules and we gotta have like a line, when it comes to stuff like that, especially if you want a better community, So I would have to, like do what I have to do on that, but I will hope that but the unfortunate thing too, man, with me is like, you want to do the right thing. I would handle it in a way to where that there's justice that's been served, for the victim of this crime, and to where that the kids and the children in the situation that they understand that there is a lesson to be learned from this, and that there's rehabilitation that needs to be done as well. But the unfortunate reality of the situation is that we have a prison system that is brutal. We have a prison system that is barbaric. And, unfortunately, giving them over to the system is only, it may or may not, and more than likely will make things worse for that child's future going ahead, because all prison really does in this country is make people better criminals and worse individuals. So it's a catch-22, honestly, because we want, justice to be served for the victim of this crime, but you also know that when you give these kids away to the system, there's more than likely a chance that nothing good is gonna come from that.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off that, for kind of like a final note on that is like, I mean, it's kind of like the elephant in the room where we all know that prison is just basically a big money scheme, and like as soon as we hand them over, it's feed them to the sharks basically. So I think ideally in the situation is we find a better way to remove these people from society, but then put them in scenarios that are going to allow them to grow. Like, there are some places where they go put them on a farm to work or do this and get them, working in old folks' homes or doing whatever. And a lot of times that's the right approach, but it's not always the approach that creates the most money or whatever that. So I think that's the first step, is that we got to get real about that situation.
It is a complicated situation like to deal with, because like obviously you don't want to excuse this because you don't want other kids to think that they can do whatever they want when it comes to committing crimes. But at the same time, it's like you kind of giving kids away to the system. It's like a lot of times, like y'all was saying, like a lot of times when they come out of prison, it's like they don't come out better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of them still continue on with crime, because when you think about it, you get out of prison and stuff like that, and it's like at a certain age, especially like when you young and stuff like that, you try to find a job. A lot of these jobs gonna look at you. Oh, you got a record. We ain't just gonna hire you. And and it's like if you can't find no work, then it's back to the streets to try to get any money any way possible. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't want, and these kids is like 14, so it's like this thing, your whole life is decided right before you even reach high school. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how are you gonna be sleeping on a metal cot for, let's say a minimum of 5 to 6 years? You sleeping on a metal cot, and you gotta take a pee in front of another man every time, or go to the bathroom from another man, and then you're just gonna come back into society and be like, all right, man, I'm ready to go hit the library, read some books, like improve
Right.
myself. You're gonna be mad, man. You're gonna be upset, and rightfully so. I mean, you did something wrong, but like, the punishment shouldn't feel like a retaliation. It should feel like a rehabilitation.
Yeah. And also too, honestly, we have to be honest about the community and society's part that we play in this. When we talk about the prison system and the prison industrial complex and everything, and how it's just unfair, for a lot of people that go into that system. But we have allowed that as a community when we haven't been abreast on the laws and the politicians and the people that are actually making these laws, that are making legislations that are allowing prisons to be in these conditions, that is allowing prisons to not care. And it, like how Don was saying, that it's only a money scheme, it's only a way to make money. They don't really care about the rehabilitation of the prisoners or the people that in that system. They just care about making money, and they don't care what happened to those people. So we as a society, we have to start getting involved in these discussions and these events and arenas, to where like these things are being discussed about the prison industrial complex and how it plays a part in our communities. Like we talk about like criminal justice reform and everything. Like we need to talk about these things. And we need to get involved and the reshaping of these things to where it can be fair for all sides involved.
Yeah. Agreed.
I say to piggyback off that too, because both of y'all is correct too. It's like piggyback technically off both of y'all. It's like you said, like get involved and like trying to change like how our system is made too, because a lot of us complain about the people in power that put us in those kind of conditions, but when it's time to come out and vote those people out of power, nobody want to do nothing. You get what I'm saying? Like voting is free. You get what I'm saying? It's not like it's something like that you gotta go out your way to do. It's like you gonna go out your way to see a new movie.
And you gotta stop voting for, falling for the Joe Biden, the Donald Trump, whatever, and then waiting 4 years and just praying, sitting in your house. because it's elections every year, local, whatever. You got, I mean, even PTSA, like that's so those are the steps to start. You can't just
Yeah,
vote for one man and then just pray.
yeah, and whatever side of the political spectrum that you fall on, just be educated. And just know about the policies that these people are pushing for, the policies that people are about. Like just knowing about like who these people are and what they're about. Like me, like I'm not partisan. I'm not Democrat, Republican. I'm not. I mean, I'm not really conservative, and I'm not anything like that. I just go by, what are the policies that they're pushing for and what are they about, and just being educated on like what I'm doing. Instead of just being loyal to one party. Just like being educated on what you're doing and who because as you get older, you start to realize like that type of thing affects not only you as an individual, but it affects society, like the people around you. It affects jobs. Like when you voting, when you like get involved in these things, like it affects a lot of society. Whether locally or nationally, whatever. So.
Thanks. I guess like on what I just wish like people just understand from this like this topic or this situation, just like some level of accountability. Or like just learn your lesson, like because obviously we don't want these kids to really like go to jail for life. You know what I'm saying? These are young boys. These are 14-year-old little kids. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it gotta be some level of accountability. We just can't be like, oh well, that's just the way it is. Because I feel like we lean on that excuse so much, especially like in the Black community, like or shit fucked up or people get killed. It's just the way it is. It's like yeah, until that's your cousin or that's your son or that's your little sister. But you ain't gonna look at it like that's the way it is. Now you're gonna be up in a riot talking about shit is fucked up and stuff like that. We really gotta play our role in like trying to fix our own communities and stuff like that. And like they always say like it starts in the home, or they always say the thing like it takes a village. I feel like that saying has been lost in the Black community for like years because nobody even wants to like help each other out now. Like I feel like we on survival mode. A lot of us like we see each other, we just like on defense instead of just being like trying to help each other out and each other in need. And it's just like we gotta stop with that mindset and then wonder why crime is at an all-time high in our communities because we just sit back and let it happen because it's like, well, it ain't my child, so I don't care. But that can be your child. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all I got. Anybody else?
Yeah, like I want to quickly like expound on what you said right there, right? And we talked about earlier how like talk about religion and people have lost that, and now like people just like wild not going crazy because they never had that religious foundation, right? And I still don't really think that that's necessary to lead a good life or to lead a good family, but I do like understand the fact that we do have a religious foundation that it does like deter you from doing a lot of things that that you wouldn't do because of that that foundation that you have, right? But also I'll say this, man, like I think that we as Black people in general, religious or otherwise, like we have to have like a code like amongst us as a people, as a community, period, to where like we gotta just look out for each other, man. It's like it really takes a village. Like like it has to get to a point where back in the day, man. You can do something as a kid, and your neighbor or your whoever is around, they're gonna get on your ass about that. They're gonna bust your ass. They're gonna do something about that. You know what I mean? They're not gonna just like oh yeah, no, that's somebody else's kid. I'm gonna mind my business. Like no, they're gonna get on your ass about that. So it's like it does take like a change of a mindset to where we have to be more community oriented. We just like let these kids and whoever just run rampant and just like like not say nothing at all.
Unbelievable. And where were the parents?
Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Just taking accountability and like y'all was saying, just do better and like try and stop complaining about certain things like that you can fix. It's like the thing about like the prison system and stuff like that. There are people that make laws about that. Vote them out if you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about that. So, but I appreciate y'all being a guest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the goats. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate, and we gotta get y'all on more episodes. Obviously, y'all got y'all numbers on speed dial all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, bro. Again, thanks for having me, man. This was a good one to do. I liked having this conversation. So
Yeah, it's a conversation that needed to be happening.
Likewise, likewise.
With that being said, I go by the name of Steph Urkel, and I'll see you next time on the episode of Millennial Dungeon. Peace.
Yeah. Urkel.